welcome back to Cooking or Something Like It. We're going to do something a little holiday themed tonight. My dog is already interjecting himself here, so ignore him. But we're going to do some lamb chops. And these are actually what they commonly call lollipop lamb chops. You can do these as an appetizer, and I realize this is a little bit fancy, and this is a little bit probably above what we normally do. The lamb chops were on special, so I got them on sale. I would not normally buy these. They came in packs of 4, so we have 8 of them here. And what we're going to do is a lamb chop appetizer with a cranberry mint sauce. I'd call it a chutney. It's not technically a chutney. You can look that up and see why, but I'll leave that up to you. So what we're going to do first is I have some fresh cranberries here. I bought these not frozen, bought them fresh. So we're going to put these in the pot. And we're going to add some heat and some water. Now, when cranberries cook, especially when you're doing them like this, and this is going to apply the same way if you were going to do a cranberry sauce, what'll happen is they start to pop. And we'll show you this as we go along as they start to do it. But the skin is actually going to split and they'll pop. When they all pop, you get that cranberry sauce that you're familiar with. So, excuse me, a little bit of Bud Light here is treating us well. So we're going to let that go, and we're going to get the lamb chops ready. I have the broiler up to high right now. So here we go. What do I have in front of me? I've got my lamb chops. Like I said, these are called lollipop lamb chops. You can see why they're called lollipop, because you can pick them up by the bone, and once these are cooked, you can eat them just like this, and you can serve them as an appetizer. I have some sugar. I have mint jelly. I have some ground peppercorns, because again, I know how you guys love watching me chase peppercorns around as I grind them, so I did it ahead of time so that I don't catch slack online. Some salt. I have some fresh mint, and I have some fresh rosemary, okay? So, first thing we're going to do, rosemary. Now, easiest way to cut rosemary, you grab it by the tip, grab it here, and you pull down. The leaves come off, the top comes off, you're left with a stem. See that? Simple. Go this way. Take our knife. Now when you chop these, they're going to fly everywhere. So the first time you go through, do it nice and easy. Just so that you can see they're kind of popping everywhere on me. Once you get them into a finer paste, they don't quite go as far. I know as far is kind of a subjective term, but they don't need to be super fine, so we have a little bit of rosemary there. All right. Olive oil, simple olive oil, and buy decent olive oil. When you look at the label, make sure it doesn't say extra virgin olive oil in taste. The new thing out on the market right now is that they're selling crappy olive oil, but it's flavored with artificial flavorings. So you want to see something that says like cold extracted or extra virgin or first press. That's what you're looking for. So we're going to put a little bit of olive oil on each chop. And if you might be able to hear behind me, you can hear those cranberries start to pop. And you'll probably hear that as we go along. All right? Now, on top of these lamb chops, take some salt. I'm going to take some of our fresh ground pepper. And we're going to flip them. This must be very exciting for you guys. All right. A little salt on the other side. A little pepper on the other side. Then we're going to take some of this rosemary, and you want to go generous on them. Now, we can do it on one side, because when we put them in the pan, we'll hit the other side when we flip them, right? Now, our cranberries are starting to pop. Now, if you can come over here and get a shot of this, you'll see right here. On that one, see how the skin is popped? That'll happen with all of them, right? So we're going to let this go. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap burners here. Okay. So we'll take this guy over here. Now here I have a broiler pan. This is just a basic broiler pan. It's got a bottom to it to catch the grease, and on top it's slotted like that. So I'm going to take a paper towel, a little bit of olive oil. Okay. You don't need a lot. We're not trying to dress the pan. You just want to get a little bit of oil all over it so that when we put the chops on them, they don't stick. Okay? And you'll continue to hear those pop as I'm doing this. So, hear that? You hear them popping one at a time? That's what we're looking for. Okay, I have heat on this cast iron pan. We are going to let this warm up a little bit. In the meantime, I have a little bit of rosemary left over. I'll take the pepper, sit over here for a second. Take the salt, do the same. I'm going to move this rosemary over. We're going to do the same thing with the mint. So we're going to pop. Now with mint, same as rosemary, you're looking for the leaves, okay? Of course, I have to get a phone call right now, which we're going to promptly ignore. So if you don't think we did this live, there you go. Although last week I did cut my finger, which I'm sure you'll all see in the video, so if there was any doubt, I think it's probably removed by now. Alright. And this mint, fresh mint, the smell is incredible. Alright, you can hear those the cranberries popping. I'm going to get this mint off the stem. We're just going to take this, chop it up. Now the traditional dressing for lamb chops is mint jelly, and we're going to kind of do a little bit of a funky take on that. Alright, so it doesn't have to be real finely chopped. You just want to make sure that you have the leaves basically broken up like that. Okay? Now, to this cranberry, now that most of my berries have started to pop, I have a 1/4 cup of sugar. Put that in there. Where did I put that spoon? Right here. Stir this up, right? And we'll let that keep going. Now, our cast iron pan is probably getting pretty warm. So we're going to start popping these in here. Now, as we've done with other dishes, what we're really looking for right now is just to get a little bit of a sear on both sides. So, put half of them in there, a little more than half. Just let them get a little bit of a sear. Turn the heat up again. Now, why am I doing this recipe tonight? I'm doing this recipe tonight because this is a great appetizer to serve at Christmas. If you can get these lamb chops, they're not that expensive. Holidays, you tend to splurge a little bit on appetizers, you know, your shrimp cocktail. But if you want to get away from something like that, which everybody does, this is a nice alternative, right? Alright, so... Alright, see that? We just got a brown on that side. We're just going to flip these over, do the same thing on the other side. Just a couple minutes, both sides. And all the while, as these cranberries cook, once they've split open, they're going to continue to break down. Alright. So, get a little bit of a sear on both sides. And put these on the broiling pan. Alright, we're going to put the other ones in. Now, as I mentioned before, We'll take a little bit of the rosemary, drizzle it on top. Now these are going to go in the broiler, so we're still going to cook these a little more. So that rosemary will really kind of soak in. Okay, we have cranberries going here. Now, as I mentioned before, the traditional dressing for lamb chops and lamb in general is mint jelly. So we're going to do a little bit of a different take on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this mint jelly and I'm going to add it to this cranberry. This is going to add some pectin from the jelly, which will act as a thickener. It's going to add a little bit more sugar, and it's going to add that mint flavor. And that jelly will dissolve, I promise. As it heats up, it'll melt right into that cranberry. So we're going to just keep stirring this. Because there is so much sugar in this, you want to keep it on a lower heat so that it doesn't burn. Alright, let's flip these over. Okay. So as we let them cook, so this, like I said, this was a good appetizer. We're going to plate this as an appetizer dish with the sauce in the middle. You can drizzle it over the top. It'll make a really nice dish. You'll see how it turns out. Our cranberries are going right now with that mint jelly in there, which is starting to dissolve. All right, keep stirring this. Now the pectin in the jelly is thickening this sauce quite a bit. So is the sugar. Don't get me wrong, there is a fair amount of sugar going to be in this sauce. You can use as little or as much as you like. I used about 3/4 of a jar of mint jelly, and that's coming up with a really nice color there. All right, so I'm going to turn this off. And there we've got our lamb chops. Now, let's give this rosemary just a little chop so we have a little bit finer pieces here. And a little drizzle on the top there. All right? The little bit of rosemary we have left, let's put in our cranberry sauce. Okay, now, before we started, I'm just going to move this off of here so it doesn't smoke so much. Before we started, I turned my broiler to high. You're going to want to, all right, with lamb chops, it's not like most other meats. You want to serve these fairly rare. If you don't like rare meat, I hate to say it, but maybe lamb isn't for you. But lamb is best served rare. Medium rare to rare. If you get it too cooked, it gets really tough. It's not that enjoyable. If you don't like rare meat, do yourself a favor and one time just try lamb rare. If you don't like it, cook the hell out of it and enjoy. I don't know. But so my broiler is set to high. I'm going to put these in. We're going to focus on our sauce. All right. We have right now cranberries, mint jelly, sugar, and we're going to take all this mint, well, almost all this mint, and throw it in there. Right? We're going to stir that up. Now, we only want those mint leaves to soften just a little bit. Okay? That sauce is pretty much done. We're just going to let that steep a little bit, and that smells absolutely amazing. You can get the mint, you get the cranberry, you can tell it's a little bit sweet. Alright, so let's talk about plating. This is a dish where plating is going to be a big deal. Right? People eat with their eyes before they ever eat with their mouths. It's kind of a weird statement, but once you get cooking and you start thinking about it, it's very true. If something looks very appetizing, people will think it is. So I'm going to show you how to plate this to make it look very appealing. So maybe people that you know, relatives, Christmas is coming. This video is probably going to come out hopefully right before Christmas, so that you have a little bit of an arsenal to use for something that's a little more fancy. But if you have relatives that maybe aren't usually interested in eating something a little funky, watch this. We'll show you how to do this. Okay, so we've got this really beautiful sauce here. And we're going to let that steep. Now notice I turned the heat off. I turned the heat off because I added fresh herbs. Once you add a fresh herb, it integrity of the herb starts to break down very quickly. You get that aroma, which I'm getting right now. This whole kitchen smells like mint right now. But it's going to start to degrade quickly. You don't want to overheat that. So I have cranberries with the sugar, the water, the mint, and I've shut the heat off. Now, we don't want to let these lamb chops go too long. I'm going to give them a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to flip them. And as I said before, and I can hear them right now, they're sizzling a little bit. You want a little bit of sizzle on both sides. If it was summertime, which in Potsdam, New York right now, which is where we are filming this, it most certainly is not. It is cold as shit outside. So this is something you can do inside. All right, can you bring that camera over here so we can get a good picture of these? All right, now look right here. See, you got that little bit of sizzle on the outside? That's all we're looking for. We're gonna flip these over. Now keep in mind, these are tiny pieces of meat. Alright, gonna put that back in. And we're gonna look about plating this sauce. Now, we have the sauce in there right now. I have a little dish. Let's see if we can get this to look nice. Alright. Now, so right here we have, you can see this is very hot, but you can tell it's a little thick, okay? Look at that, by the way it sticks to the spoon. You see that? You see that? It sticks to the spoon a little bit so you can still see that color. You know it's going to thicken up a lot when it dries, or when it cools. So we're going to do that. We're going to place this right in the middle. Now, to make it fancy, because we're all a little fancy, take a little bit of rosemary on top, a little bit of mint on top. That looks pretty nice, all right? We're going to leave that just like that. Once our lamb chops are done, we're going to plate this dish. Now, start to finish, I've got about 2 minutes left on my lamb chops, but start to finish, we're probably 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Okay, so we're 10 to 15 minutes. But this is a fairly advanced appetizer in 15 minutes. Granted, I did warm the lamb up to room temperature, but that's kind of a preparation step. I left them out for about an hour to warm up. Other than that, this is a fairly advanced appetizer that will really impress your guests, I promise. And you're going to be done in less than 20 minutes. So I'm going to take a sip of beer while we give that lamb another second. And that's about it. We're going to shut it off. See that? That was in there for what? 2 minutes? Tops? You hear that sizzle? That's what we're looking for. All right. You want to impress people? Have a really nice holiday appetizer. Try that out. If that doesn't get your guest's attention, take a little bit of mint over the top, like so. This is cooking or something like it. This is Lollypop lamb chops with a mint cranberry chutney, or something like chutney. Check us out on Facebook. If you like the video, please share it. We have a new Instagram account, Cooking or Something Like It. We have a new YouTube channel. Just search for Cooking or Something Like It. Please share it. Tell your friends. Love us. We love you too. And we'll see you next time.